Faster. Hi, Jack Bennett here. Welcome to The Big Drum. Today I'm going to show you the pattern that I was just playing there between the ride cymbal and the snare drum. It's basically a pattern that uses 5, so a repetitive pattern of 5, but within triplets. So the sticking pattern is actually a really common thing that I've actually taught a few times in different sort of styles. It's just right, and then a left, left at the very end. So 3 single strokes and then 2 lefts at the very end. So just... Okay, that's the pattern that we're playing between ride cymbal and the snare drum. Now, obviously, being a pattern of 5, but when I play it in a jazz context like I was doing then, I'm playing it within triplets, which we know are 3 per beat. Obviously, if we're playing 5, or a cycling pattern of 5 within triplets, then it's not going to land on the same part of the beat every single time. Okay, it's not going to land on 1 and A2 and A3 and A4 and A1 or anything like that. It's going to land on a different part of every beat, which is a good thing because it just means that the the accents or the phrase points are going to fall around the beat, and inevitably you're going to end up phrasing over the bar line as well. So the first thing that we probably want to do is just get used to feeling that phrase of 5 within triplets, and don't even worry about the ride cymbal to start with, just practice it on the snare drum. So you're going right, left, left. Okay, so maybe do that over a quarter note pulse on the bass drum to begin with. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Okay, so I'm just accenting at the start. So that's a really common pattern, that one, going right, and then a double left at the end. Other things that I've shown you in previous videos in more sort of a funk or a fusion context is you can either accent both the rights, so going, and you can do that within triplets, of course, again. You can do it within 16th notes as well. Okay, and the other variation of as well is just accenting the first 3, so right, and then the 2 lefts at the end. And once again, you can do that within triplets as well. And 16ths. We're not doing either of those accent series, we're just accenting at the start, but it is the same sticking pattern. So just wanted to give you an idea there of sort of how versatile a pattern it is. You can use it in many different subdivisions and in many different styles. So let's just go back to what we were doing with just the accent on the first of the 5 notes. Okay, maybe start out with just some slow time on the ride in a jazz context, just... And maybe give yourself a couple of bars of time and then try and phrase it. So you're going... Okay, and I put the bass drum in there. I was feathering the bass drum on all 4 as well. That kind of... Although you might not necessarily do that when you're actually playing it, that helps sort of create the pulse underneath it so you can really hear how the unit works over the top of just the regular 4/4 time. One thing that you'll notice, of course, whenever you do anything in 5, it's the same thing in any odd number actually as well, 7, 9, etc., is that the pattern will actually resolve after 5 beats. Okay, so... Okay, I played 5 beats and then on the 6th beat it started again. So why is that? Because it's a pattern that cycles after every 5th note, every 5th subdivision. Okay, to be the same thing if we were doing it in 16th notes and we were accenting every 5th, 16th, it would resolve after 5 beats as well if we were going... Okay, so it either resolves after 5 beats, so, beat 2 effectively of the second bar of 4/4 time, or, if you're playing in 5/4 time, it would resolve on the downbeat, or it resolves after 5 bars of 4/4 time. Okay, just an interesting little note there. So let's have a look at what this sounds like when you speed it up. faster. And another thing that I really like about this fill is that it's kind of like a nothing effort fill in terms of the the physical, just the purely the physical input that I'm putting into it. You can see my right hand, I'm just going. I'm just kind of rotating back and forth, or maybe sort of getting like an oval shape. But I'm not, sort of putting a whole lot of effort into it. Yet you're still getting this really cool accent series and just constant triplets, jugga jugga underneath as well on the snare. So even at fast speeds, I'm not really tensing up. I'm working a little bit harder, but it's not like I'm really having to use a whole lot of physical effort to play this lick. And you definitely want to try and achieve that too, particularly when I find when you're playing between maybe this side of the kit and then back to the center, or particularly between the ride and the snare, maybe the floor tom and the snare. One thing, and again I've said this on a few videos now, is that I like to really position my arm kind of halfway in between the two objects, if you will, or the two instruments, and just sort of rotate and just really use majority wrist. You will pivot at the elbow a little bit, but just kind of using majority wrist going back and forth like that. Because it just makes for economy of motion, and you get a certain amount of finesse, which actually imparts on your sound being nice and relaxed. If I do this big kind of awkward movement, pivoting at the shoulder and doing this kind of moving around the kit like that, it's clumsy, it's really bad economy of motion, it's really uneconomical, and you sort of sound a little bit clumsy, a little bit stiff and jolted as well if you move that way. So obviously if you want to sound smooth and relaxed on the kit, you need to play smooth and relaxed. Okay, so that's just a technical note there when you're playing these sorts of things, and it could be anything.